We also want to continue to look at green options because a lot of this world, there's some. In Southern California, there's a real strong need for water conservation, a lot of incentives. But when we get to places like Washington State, where we've done some business, they're as interested in trying to be as green as possible and not use chemicals. Even though our chlorination only brings the water back up to where it was when it first came out of the tap, they still don't like the idea of using a chemical. So we're looking at other alternatives, things like citric acid. Citric acid comes in primarily liquid type of form, and looking at things like grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed extract is being used pretty effectively in hospitals, and so but they're both pretty expensive. Grapefruit seed extract is about $250 a gallon, but it's being used pretty effectively in operating rooms. We're assuming that somewhere along the way, one of these days, we're going to find a product, hopefully along with Sloan. Sloan has a health minor division that we're working with that uses various different kinds of disinfection and controlling, that we'll find another product that will be more green but be as effective as chlorine. Graywater Regulations, only thing I want to do today is really kind of talk about it from 1,000 feet up and not try to drill into it too far, because it's just still a moving target. Basically, from our standpoint, we looked at both the IPC and the UPC. IPC is basically has an appendix, not in the body of the code, but an appendix that allows for the use of graywater systems. UPC has a Chapter 16, which currently doesn't allow for products like ours. It's really only for irrigation. We have a UPC classified listing right now, but UPC, as I'll mention here in a minute, is currently being this Chapter 16 is being changed, and hopefully by the 1st of October we'll hear the outcome of that vote, which will allow for systems like ours. Basically what we do and what allows our system to be sold is alternative devices. Almost all codes allow for some type of alternative devices, but you have to go to the local authority having jurisdiction and convince them. So what we have is we've got a little inspector's guide. Basically, the inspectors, what we've discovered is they want to know two things. They want to know, is the water going to cross-connect to the freshwater system? And is there any chance, if the dog drank out of the toilet or if the baby took Barbie for a swim, somebody's going to be harmed? And we can demonstrate through some of these studies we've done and the information we have that there's no chance of cross-connection to the freshwater system, and that because we're using a chlorine tablet to kill the bacteria, that not sure your dog's going to want to drink the water, but it's not going to harm the dog if he drinks it. It's just going to, from a chlorination standpoint, the bacteria is going to be killed. IPC committees are still doing a lot of looking at it. I don't know that they've made a lot of progress yet in working on their code, but UPC, as I mentioned before, is working on revising their Chapter 16. They're currently in the public comment stage of Chapter 16, and September the 30th through October the 3rd, they'll be in Atlanta. There's the final vote is going on, and hopefully, if that goes well, then it'll be in the code book in 2009. Plus, we'll be able to make application for our system to get a full UPC shield with that as well. So, with all that information and all those things that we've studied along the way, we wanted to share with you 4 approaches to indoor graywater reuse, and the last one is a little bit about our product. Basically, there's 2 of them that are kind of whole house systems that are out there right now, and then there's 2 that are more kind of point of use systems. The first one's called the Pontos. It's made by a company called Hans Grohe. Hans Grohe is a German company, and they capture water from many sources, and using UV, they do a lot of heavy treatment. It has 4 large chambers where they do sediment and heavy filtration. They bring the water back up to a very purified level. But again, it's more whole house. It's more expensive than a system like ours is. The other one that's out that's kind of being currently marketed is the Brac system out of Canada. Brac is more of a whole house system. You put the tank in the garage or the basement or whatever. It's not as expensive as the Ponto system, but its drawback, I guess, is that it currently requires quite a bit of maintenance and a lot of work on it to make it acceptable. And so because it's a whole house system, it's really for new construction pretty exclusively because of additional piping. The Caroma, as well as Toto, actually, over in that corner, Toto has one of their toilets, which has a sink basin built into the lid of the toilet, and basically the way it works is that the water just, you wash your hands or you do your activities, and the water just flows directly into the toilet tank. As I understand it, it's pretty well accepted in Japan. One where they don't have a lot of space, and they're a little bit more going after things like this. So.